We're live. Good morning, San Diego.
I don't know the next line because I've never really watched that show.
We did start watching that movie though.
Yeah.
You didn't commit to the end.
Yeah.
Welcome back,
Not
everybody.
my favorite.
This is On the Mat. My name is Jonathan. This is my wife, Stephanie. My beautiful wife, Stephanie. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Usually we do this earlier in the day, but we just got back from Suva and then we showered and we hopped on the mat. So thank you guys for being here as late as it is.
So we're doing the live and the podcast. We've done this for a few weeks in a row just because life has been really busy lately. We'll probably get back to regular schedule in the next few weeks here, but
Yeah, but it works not bad to do the live and the podcast at the same time for us. So here we are.
here we are. How was Suva for you? How
Man.
was today?
Suva was mind-blowing. Very eye-opening. Lots of cool people that we were meeting with. And today we met a gentleman named Bruce from Zoom Fiji. So really, really cool guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy that did the EO video. That's what the song is called, right? EO? Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that video.
Yeah.
That's like the one music video that I've seen in Fiji that I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Love this.
He's totally on board with like the storytelling and stuff. He's sold on it.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And he's also,
I've never met anybody like him in Fiji, really.
why is that?
Just because like he has these like he looks like a Kaiwalangi guy, but he's related, like his relatives were from Fiji, and so he has this like New Zealand accent, but like Fijianism traits, you know.
Yeah.
And he's just a really cool guy.
Is it New Zealand that he's from?
Yeah.
Ah, okay, that's why.
Why?
I can't always pick out the difference between like Australian accents
Oh.
and like a Kiwi accent,
Yeah.
and then like. Just
Oh, Australians and Kiwis would hate you for that. Also, we'll be slapping bugs all the time because there's so
Yeah.
many bugs.
we have some lights on us, and normally we don't do it at night, or they're not so close, and a couple will go up the nostril here and there. So.
Yeah. How was your time in Suva?
It was good. I felt like the only hard part about ever going away from here is coming back to the heat, because typically when you're in town you have air conditioning because there's electricity, and then when I get off like on the tarmac on the airplane, I'm like, ooh, it's hot here.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And I think it's hotter over here than Suva.
And we always get in the most like reject taxis after the airports, eh?
Ah, yeah, we got in the worst taxi today. Like when you're like, this taxi, I'm like, he had like a stick to prop up the back to put in the suitcase, and I was like, I don't care, but are we gonna make it to where we're going?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't have the best of luck with that. That's why I was trying to, when we got into Suva, I was telling you to pick out a good taxi.
There definitely seems to be a common theme, and this is probably a big no-no to talk about.
What?
But like when you look at like Fijian-owned taxis compared to like Indo-Fijian taxis, usually the Fijian ones are always like pretty beat.
Oh, yeah.
Like
You did notice that.
yeah, and even when we own vehicles, our vehicles are always like dirtier and dented. It seems.
But why do you think that is?
I don't know. Just because we like go down rough roads and like we don't have like the same value of possessions, like because things just come and go,
Yeah,
And-
that's true.
and so life is, I think, just a lot more relational than it is like possession
Yeah, driven.
driven. Yeah.
Which is fine. The only reason that I'm picky about like getting into a decent taxi is a couple times that we've been in Suva, especially because it's such a long drive towards the city, is we had one guy that was having a lot of car problems,
When?
and then he needed fuel. Do you remember stopping where that old broken down like airplane was?
Yeah.
And, yeah.
That place is sick.
Yeah, that place is sick. The car we were in
Yeah,
was
yeah,
so
yeah.
sketchy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I always just try to make an effort to find.
Yeah, we like
something.
opened the trunk and there was like no trunk liner. You just put it on top of the spare tire in the trunk.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, oh gosh.
Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't trust it,
Yeah.
so it's fine. But just be careful. You're also allowed to pick your taxi, like when they're in the lineup. I know that taxi drivers like hate it when you don't pick like the first person in the line, But if you go with our oldest, Aliki, he's very picky about what car he gets in.
Is he?
Yeah, it's so funny. I didn't know this would be a thing, but he'd be like, Mom, just let me pick the car, Mom. Like, we're going to go in a cool car.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to go in a good car, Mom. You know how pick taxis? I'll pick it. So he was always very particular.
Really? I didn't know about this.
Yeah, he's like you.
Yeah.
He is your little mini-me. The boys called us probably every, I don't know, hour when we were away. You hid the iPad, and they're a little bit tech savvy, so they found an old phone of ours, or mine, called the iPad, found it in the closet, and then they were contacting us. I got voice messages every hour, video messages, lots of phone calls. Yeah. And John had said, don't use the iPad. And they didn't for their normal uses, but they definitely were in full swing of.
They couldn't help it.
Yeah. I called them at like, I was like 8 at night, and they had the iPad in their bed ready to answer my phone call. I was like, okay.
How about that school that we found out about today in Suva?
Oh,
Interesting, huh?
where's my phone?
Did you look it up?
I haven't looked it up. What's it called? It is called, 1 second here. Wait for it. Sorry, I'm very slow over here. MIS.
MIS?
I don't know what it stands for,
Yeah.
but apparently, well, Bruce was telling us about it. Apparently, it's like a smaller school.
Have you heard of this school? No.
Yeah. Yeah. But apparently, the guy has, like, it's small classrooms, and they're just a little bit more advanced in their education, but like Fiji style, and I don't know. He said
Yeah,
it's
they
a really
only do
great
school from like 8 to 1, but it goes all the way from like preschool to year 13.
Yeah.
And like even the way that it sounds like they do like learning their numbers, right?
Yeah, it
like,
sounds like it's really interesting school.
They don't just like learn math just for the sake of learning math. Like they learn like how to do their taxes. Or like,
and he was talking about like they're doing numbers, but they'll be like, okay, if you have this much money and you go to the market,
yeah,
you know, how do you budget out what you're spending? How many vegetables can you buy? For
that's
this
it.
amount?
Yeah,
That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's really cool because it's very practical.
yeah. So instead of saying like, what is 13 minus 2? It's like you have $13. You go to the market and you buy a bundle of whatever, or a pile of whatever for $2. Then how much money do you have left?
Yeah.
And like, how much do you? Yeah, like it's just like, I'm like, oh, I could send my kids to school like that.
Yeah, I love that. I like the practicality of it. I think like when you get out of school and you don't know how to budget, you don't know how to do your taxes.
I didn't know how to do anything.
Like honestly, I remember my parents telling me
School's
like,
dumb.
I had a car, and in Canada getting cars are a lot cheaper, so I had a car that was maybe worth like a couple $1,000, and oh, I just got pooped on. Nice.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very
Oh yeah, he
rude.
is hanging out there.
Yeah.
He's just deucing on you.
Yeah, it's my luck too. I don't even know.
Oh, you're above me too.
Don't say that.
Shoot, welcome to our studio.
Yeah, the poop studio.
Shoot,
Here we go.
gross.
So my first car, my dad was saying to me, every time you get a paycheck, ew, that's disgusting.
Oh, can you imagine if he just like pooped on my tongue? Oh.
Yeah, I can. It would be hilarious. If that happened to me, I'd puke right here.
if a gecko pooped on my tongue, you would puke.
Yeah. Well, both. If it happened to me or it happened to you, I'd puke. Either way, I'm not okay with that. What? It's kind of.
Are we mixing tonight or no? Huh? I thought Corey really wanted to have another mix tonight.
Oh, okay. Let me finish my story.
Okay,
If
sorry.
we continue about poop. Oh my gosh. Saying my
I'm a
dad,
guy. I like talking about
the
poop.
one thing that they made sure when I moved out, they were like, you need to save for rent, and every time you get your paycheck, you have to put a little bit aside for your car because there will be an emergency with your car, and that always costs so much. So the rest, they were kind of like, do whatever you want, pay your bills, put some aside for your car, and then whatever. But like that's the basics, and then after that, you kind of just sort out how to save and.
Is that your Tercel?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I was really bad with my money when I was young. I remember, like, going to McDonald's. I went shopping. I loved to shop when I was young.
Oh yeah, you did.
I'd go to the mall every day and just, like, find one thing to buy. Like, I was just, like, I worked a lot.
Just addicted.
But I was just, like, so addicted to shopping. And I rolled up to McDonald's, and the burger at the time was, like, $1.35 for a double cheeseburger. It was, like, small. And I was
Dirty.
like, oh, I'll just grab, like, a burger on the way home. Because I never cooked. I was, like, living alone. I was like, I'm not cooking. Rolled up, got declined on my card.
Really?
I didn't even have have $1.35 left in my account. And I remember being like so embarrassed.
Whoa.
Like, oops. So after
You really started from the bottom. I didn't.
Yeah,
I come from money.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a very sophisticated, high net worth family. So I don't know what it's like to be you.
What about your first car? Like in Canada, you can't get a job without a
Bula,
car.
everybody. Thank you guys for joining. And if you guys listening to the conversation and you have questions or like want to make a comment that we could address, that's why we're doing this live thing so that we can like chat with you because it's interesting.
Hey, so rude. Stop
Sambula.
spilling your kava. That face always looks so enticing to drink kava with.
Welcome to the mat.
It's a good time.
Surf Hawaii.
So when you were doing, or no, when you were young and you were trying to get your first car, what did that look like for you? I was trying to tell everybody in Canada, you need to have a car. You can't typically get hired for a job without a car, and they don't cost
Yeah.
that much. Like you can get a car for $500. That was my first car,
Yeah.
so you can do it.
My first vehicle was a 2002 Mazda Protege.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much did it cost you?
I think I paid maybe, was it 8,000?
Yeah, probably 8,000.
Yeah.
You were working at where were you working? The co-op? Because you
Was I
started working at what, 14?
Yeah, I started working when I was 14, and I think I was framing as I graduated. Yeah, so yeah, so when I was 17, I bought my car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, because you've been working since you were 14, saving up.
Yeah. So I bought my car when I was 16. And I moved out when I was 17.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and that's what it takes
was-
to buy your first car.
Dude, I loved that car.
Yeah.
I've never washed a car so much in my life.
Oh, I know you were so obsessed. Okay, really funny thing. I remember we were dating. I was like trying to do something nice for your birthday, so I went to like Canadian Tire, which is like an auto store that has
Yeah.
a plethora of other things. But I bought you like a whole like garbage bag full of cleaning supplies for your car. That was like your birthday gift. And on top of that, I tried to get it washed for you. I don't think I washed it because I don't see myself doing that.
I don't see you doing that. I don't think I've ever seen you do that.
No, you know what it is? I took it to the self-serve one. So I like pressure washed it, but I didn't like polish it down. Like I didn't wipe it down because I was never taught that. And then I remember like giving you your car and your gift, and you liked the gift, but you were kind of pissed about your car because it was streaky. Like you were mad that I washed it and didn't do a good enough job, and I was trying to be so nice about your birthday, and then you were just kind of like, ugh,
It's streaky.
It's streaky.
It's like that Chris Rock
I
skit.
hate how my car is clean. Yeah, I remember you whining about it, and then I remember you had the audacity to open up the car door and be like, next time you do it, you need to dry in like the opening.
The door jams.
The door jams. And I just
Facts.
remember like,
That's facts, right?
okay, I'm never, and actually in that moment, that dictated the rest of your life right there.
Oh,
in that moment, I was like, I'm never doing this ever again for this picky bleep, bleep, bleep.
Wow. Wow. Unreal.
And then now when you complain about, just remember and soak in that moment and just be like, yeah, not her job. Not her job. Right?
Yeah, wow. It'd be nice if you would help out with that every once in a while.
Well, I do sometimes. If I go to Mombasa, I get people to wash it.
Yeah.
I know that's like really like princessy, but I can't.
Well, I don't honestly, there is nobody in Fiji that I have. There must be somebody, but I have not met a person who actually knows how to properly wash a vehicle. Like people
to
will.
Jonathan's particular standards.
Well, you don't start at the bottom of like the running boards and then wash the hood, or like you don't. Like if you're gonna polish the interior of a vehicle, like then you wipe it and then you polish it with another cloth, and like you make sure you don't touch the windows while you like use that oily like silicone based polish. There's just like basics that like oh my gosh, I can't believe you put the cloth on the running board and then back on the paint. It's like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Also, to anybody that runs a car wash in Fiji, like, you can set yourself apart so easily if somebody would just wipe the windows. Like, if somebody had, like, you don't have to buy Windex or, like, some fancy, like, window cleaner. You just have to use a microfiber cloth with vinegar and water in it. That's it. That's it.
To do what? Like to get.
To make streak-free
He's
windows.
telling me to shuffle in, but I don't want to. It's like the gecko. I'm trying to get away
Just
from
put
the
your tongue out.
bugs. No, honestly, like the moment you were talking about all this like car cleaning, I had like a bug in my eyeball, one up my nostril, trying to climb in my mouth, going down my dress. There's one in my thigh right now.
Ooh.
It's very like.
The bug's where I want to be.
Ew.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say ew. We all know that, but don't say that out loud.
Dear. I'm just looking at questions, guys, that you guys asked. Hi, is your mama Fijian? No. My
She
father
is
is a Fijian.
Canadian Dutch lady.
Yes.
Dutch?
Dutch and English.
Dutch and English.
Yeah.
I feel like most Canadians have more than that. Like I feel like you should take like a real DNA test.
I
Like
don't
one
know.
of those like heritage things.
My grandfather was fully Dutch, and my grandma was
Really?
fully English. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Pure-blooded Dutch English Fijian over here, baby. Three-way.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Shoot. Ah.
Next.
Where in Fiji do you live? I live in
Senganga.
Senganga. Yes.
And for those of you that don't speak Fijian, it is Natsia Kwakwa.
It's Seaqa. And in Fiji, the Q says G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you reading this sign as you go by, if you see Kwakwa, same place, Senganga.
Okay, I have 6 questions for you.
Okay.
And then you have to ask them back to me.
And
You
then
ready?
if they make me cry, I'm going to go like, no.
You're going to leave?
Pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass.
I think people are sick of the sadness.
I'm sick of
Like,
this.
bad vibes, bro. Don't post this. Yeah. Where's the Dal Goose? The Dal Goose.
There's no Dalai today, so.
Oh, here. This is a good question, all right?
Oh,
All
right,
right. You
John,
ready for this one?
Here's the problem with John. He's like, the sadder the movie, the sadder the moment in life, the better it is. Don't. Not today.
I purposely tried to come up with happy questions. Okay, what's a book, movie, or a TV show, I guess, that has had a significant impact on your life?
Ooh. Oh, what is that? Oh, shoot. What is that? Okay, so there's a book, and it's not for young people. It's a little more mature, but it is a Christian book.
Ow.
It's called Redeeming Love.
Oh.
And I used to read that quite a bit, like as a young kid.
What's the basis of Redeeming Love?
So the basis of it is that there is this girl that has had a very hard life, and she gets thrown into prostitution. And this guy comes into town and marries her and takes her away, but she keeps running back to her old life. And it's based off of the Bible and situations in the Bible where God's people kept running away from him, and that he would just keep taking them back no matter what was happening. But because it's portrayed within like
Love?
love
Or like...
in a book, and it's definitely not for, I would say, young women
Right.
to read, because it is.
Even though you read it as a young woman?
I definitely did.
Why?
Because
Is it like explicit?
It's not explicit, but it is kind of like romantic and a little bit like, it's not, I don't want to say it's sensual, but it kind of is, I guess. And I just felt like maybe it's just a little bit too mature of a book to read when you're under 16. That's what I would say. And I read it quite young. I think I read it like 14. So I just remember me and my sister talking about like, I think I read that too young, which is nothing actually wrong with the book. It's a beautiful book. I love that book. And that book's made me cry. Oh my gosh, so much. Me and my sister.
And you've read it a lot of times, though.
I've read it so many times.
Okay, what's the book called? Redeeming Love, right?
Redeeming Love. And even my sister and I, we took this like long road trip from where we lived in Canada to Saskatchewan. And we drove for like 20-something hours. And we listened to the audiobook version of it together. And we both cried like babies on the drive. Just
Really?
like driving. Like, oh my God, it's so sad. But it's so good at the same time. It's one of those books where you're just like, Oh, it's so good. I love this book.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that one. And then there's another one. I think it's a similar author. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a trilogy. Even my dad liked it. And it's based in the Roman Empire. Someone's got to throw a comment in there if they know it. And the main character's name was Hadassah, and it was all about this,
Hadassah?
yeah, this Jewish servant that walked through the Roman Empire and lived out her faith in a really beautiful, impactful way. And it had gladiators in it and fighting.
Somebody's got to know.
And
Somebody's
so
got to know.
it was a book where like even my dad read it and loved it, and
Oh.
I loved it. It was just kind of like one of those books that was like really, it was really great. Also a Christian author, and it's funny because normally I'm not like a Christian author book reader, but those are the ones that like when I was a kid, my parents were like, "Oh, you could read this. This
Right.
is really like a good read," and I've read them so many times. And like other books I've read.
And Redeeming Love was also made into a movie, you said?
Yeah, and the movie's pretty good.
Oh.
It's definitely like just like normal.
I think the only thing I could
It
probably say
doesn't
is close
touch
to that, like
the book.
in era maybe, is A Walk to Remember.
Yeah.
Like genre-ish, like same era.
Yeah, maybe.
Have you watched A Walk to Remember too?
Was good.
Yeah.
But I want to look this up.
So sad.
Hadassah. I feel like
Is there more than one book? Nicholas Sparks? Oh. Sounds like a... More sad? Oh, Dear John! Oh, dude. Yes. What happened in Dear John again?
I don't know. I never watched it.
They're in love. He goes off to war, right? That's what you're talking about? Yeah. And then when he goes to war, she falls in love with somebody else. Then he comes back and sees her. And they fall in love again? Yeah.
Oh, I found this book.
What? It's all by the same guy? Elayashi. No. This is the Sorry, guys, this is
okay. So the
cricket.
book that I've been talking about is called A Voice in the Wind. It's actually a trilogy. I think the trilogy is called Mark of the Lion. It's by Francine Rivers.
Oh, Francine Rivers.
Yeah, and she's just like a really good author. And normally, guys,
Classic
I'm like
Francine.
this I like fantasy, sci-fi kind of like, I don't know.
I'm big into fantasies.
No,
like-
not like that. Like just make believe. I like make believe novels.
That's
I
what
like historically true novels or ones that are like ancient times, but I don't. Yeah, I just like something that like is just so
Did you like the movie Ben-Hur?
not close to reality because it takes me away from that. Yeah, I watched that a lot of times.
Yeah, I bet you
It's
did.
like
Your
my-
dad, she's like
like
kind of
my-
guy like,
like,
all
Dad,
right,
like-
movie night, Ben-Hur, baby.
When we were kids, we did not have a lot of choice in the movie we were watching. It was like Ben-Hur
or Star Trek.
Star Trek or Star Wars or Lord of the Rings kind of thing. Or when I was really young, we watched a lot of John Wayne. If anyone is that old.
You mean John Wick?
No, John Wayne, honey.
There's
you
no
know,
such thing.
You know
It's
nothing.
John Wick.
No. That means that you're not old enough.
Sorry, she doesn't know movies.
He
No.
didn't know Breakfast with Tiffany. So,
Yeah, I actually just heard on the Ariana Grande song on the way back to the village.
yeah. John lives in his own little, like, bubble of, like,
Did you guys
rap
know that
and
Ariana
hip-hop.
Grande has a lot of followers on Instagram? She's very popular.
He
She's
was
a
like,
singer.
He was very surprised that she was like just close to the amount that The Rock had following her.
Yeah.
And then who did we
Selena
look at?
Gomez.
Selena Gomez
Crushes them.
blows them out of the water. And
I
you
thought
were
she's
also
like,
shocked.
yeah.
You thought she was nobody.
I
but
thought I
you
was
know
more
nothing.
popular than Selena Gomez.
Yeah. That's so cute. That would suck actually to be that popular because
Oh
like
my gosh. She's a
can-
billionaire. Eh?
you can. Well, I'd hope so.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If you're gonna be that popular, you better be a billionaire. Because if you're broke and that popular, it's no,
That's true. Not
it's
worth it.
not a good life. It's not worth it.
For those of you, I don't know if you've ever talked about this story, but like you said, you would watch Star Wars on like repeat, or you
Yeah.
watched it a lot of times. That was our first ever
Date.
date,
Yeah.
like 6 dates, I guess.
Well, you took me to Smitty's, which is like this
Super high end, like
really-
really classy.
this
restaurant.
diner that I actually like worked at, which is so funny.
You were working there when I took you there.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. If you're a guy and you're dating a girl who is a waitress, don't take her for the first date at the restaurant that she is employed at. Okay, check.
Or do, I guess, because it did work. Which
Yeah.
is really funny. Yeah, but there's bugs everywhere. They're crawling.
Dude.
What was that?
I don't know. That's a big one. It's a big June bug. So that's a tip I would recommend that you don't do. But it worked out for us.
Yeah. Well,
Or maybe you do that. Take her to that restaurant because you really lock her in.
do you?
Well, I locked you in. Worked on you.
Some
You're like, this
freaking
guy's like so just.
oblivious. It's adorable.
I can do anything to him.
This is his first date ever, so we'll just let him roll with it. Wasn't trying to.
It was my first date
It
ever.
was your first date ever, and I was not judging you harshly because it was fine.
Dude, I got like my car so clean. Okay. Actually, what you want to do though, what you want to do, guys, is you want to buy flowers and bring it
Not
for
the
the
girl,
mom.
for the mom.
Yeah. So I brought flowers.
That's the clutch move because
Because
later.
I came to the door and then she opened the door. So it wasn't. She was staying with her auntie at the time, and
that
so
was a good move.
yeah. Oh, you're blushing. It's okay.
I'm not
Alright.
blushing.
All right, you deserve me. As good as I am, you deserve me.
Yeah, you walked in and then you had flowers and then you were like,
I
"Oh,
walked past you.
these are for you," to my aunt, and she was like, "Oh, he's so awesome." And then
Ching.
we'll fast forward to like later in the week. I
Lock.
remember saying to her, "I don't think I can date him. He's a little young for me," because I was 19, you were 17, and I was kind of like, "I don't know, this is kind of weird." And she was like, "Stop being such a stop being dumb. He's great. Who cares if he's 17?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay." She's like, "He's great. What are you even talking about?" And so she's honestly the reason that we continue dating. Because she was like,
Thank
"Stop
you,
being
Auntie
dumb."
Leanne.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shout out to Auntie Leanne.
That's true. And
Oh.
so after we went to Smitty's and our friend, here's another classic tip from John. So we go to Smitty's and I order a hamburger and you order a salad. And when the waitress comes up, classic for Canadian culture, she hands me the salad and John the burger because she thinks that I would eat a salad, and then I'm like, "Oh no, the burger is mine and the salad is for him." Which is kind of
Which made you feel really good
yeah,
about yourself.
It's kind of like embarrassing for a girl because you look like the fatty at the table, and the guy that you're with is just like eating this little dainty salad, and you're like, "Ah, okay." And I didn't care that much, but I know a lot of women that would have been like, "No, this is not okay." So also, do not order a salad on your first date.
So Star Wars is after that?
Yeah,
Or was it?
Yeah, so we went on our date, and
But then we went to the Chinese restaurant too.
well, that was later.
Oh, okay, that's later. Okay.
So
I
our
forget.
first date, and then I told you that you should come back. We're talking about movies, and I said, "You never watched Star Wars? Well, you should come to my house. We'll watch Star Wars," because we were out early, I think. And then I remember when we were sitting downstairs in the living room, you like felt the pressure to be like, "Hey, just so you know, like, I'm like out on this date because I like you," and I kind of like mumbled like, "Yeah, I know," like. I'm like, duh.
Oh, yeah, I never
But
done
you-
it before.
But you didn't hear me. Do you remember that? You were like, "Oh, I'm out here because I like you." Like, you wanted to make sure I was not friend zoning you. And you were like, "Oh, like, I like you." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." But you didn't hear me say, "Yeah, I know." You just thought I ignored you. And it just put you in this really insecure, like, ugh. Space.
I'm not insecure.
No, but I made you very insecure.
Yeah.
You did not hear me. And then I think our second date, we went to this Chinese restaurant, and we got these fortune cookies, and I was trolling John pretty hard. I didn't think he would take it seriously. I just thought it was funny. And we got our fortune. We got these
fortune?
cookies.
A lot of people don't know what fortune cookies
So
are.
fortune cookies are something we get in Canada from an Asian restaurant, and you open them, and they have a paper inside. It tells you your future. Okay, so we open the fortune cookie, you read your future, and mine was like, "This next year is going to be great," or like something really generic. Like, they're always generic. They always fit everybody's.
Well, yeah, kind of. The next person you meet will have the answer to the question you've been asking for the last month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, still. And then John's like, "What does yours say?" And we're talking, and I was like, "Oh," and I started trolling him, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I believe this is really gonna happen. Hey, like, this is really like my future." And I was like joking, and I thought you could tell I was joking. And then John was like, "Are you actually," like, he went really serious, because he went like for a moment like, "Am I dating a psycho?"
No, I was just like,
It was like, you could see him take like 10 steps back from me mentally and be like, who is this chick? This chick is crazy. I could see it in your eyes. It was so funny.
Did we hold hands when we were watching Star Wars?
No, definitely not.
No.
And then I remember you like backpedaling quite a
Just
bit.
slow down. Just take it easy.
And then I was like, I'm just joking. And the relief on your face was so funny. I died a little bit inside. It was hilarious.
And then we watched six movies of the 6 Star Wars movies.
But like, I remember at our first date, like from Smitty's, like you dropped me off or something like that and got out of the car. And as we were saying goodbye, I remember you were like, I love you.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, my reaction, because I've been said, I love you by men. And I find men like jump into that so quickly. Like they're like the first to be like, I love you. But then when it gets serious, like first to run away. And so I was like, no, you don't. Like I said it like that. I just kind of laughed at him. And I was like, honey, like I was like.
She did. She laughed in my face.
I was like, you can take that back. Like that was a slip up. Like no worries. Take it back. No harm. No foul.
Little did you know.
And you were like, no, I do. And I was kind of like.
Just so committed.
I was like, ooh.
I recommend that technique on a first date. All men watching this.
Yeah. That gave me like a lot of like.
If you're a guy and you have a crush on a girl, just go tell her that
No.
you love her. And she will be your wife.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I think that's probably why I was like, I don't think I should date this guy to my aunt. Because I was like, I think this first girlfriend thing is a lot to deal with. Yeah, I was like, he thinks he loves me, but he doesn't.
But I did.
Little
did you know I did.
You thought you did, but you were just like.
What? You don't. This is what Stephanie's good at, is telling me how I feel. That's why actually maybe women are good at, is like, no, you don't feel that way. You feel this way. And
Yeah,
it's like,
but
no,
guess
you
what?
can't tell me how I feel.
You
I'm the one
didn't
feeling
know
this
me.
feels.
You got scared over a fortune cookie joke. So, no, you didn't love me at that time.
What?
You were just deeply infatuated. And then you grew
No,
up.
it's not. No. I was like, you know what? This woman needs love. So I love her. So I chose to love you because I felt that, you know, you needed me. You needed saving. You needed my love. So you needed. So I extended that gracious offering to you.
Okay.
And you threw it back in my face.
When we were 17, it was our first date. So I love you now, but I did not love you at that moment. It took me like another 8 months to say I love you. Well, and I had just gotten out of a really long relationship. I was not, and I warned you. Actually, the funny thing is, way before this date, like the day before, I had told John, don't ask me to be your girlfriend. I'm like not ready to date anybody, and I don't want to really. And then like the next day, you were like, can we go out? And I remember just being like, John's a really good man, but like, wow, I
couldn't say no.
I just told you. Yeah, I couldn't say no. You're right. You are right in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, you were a good quality person. So, but it was funny that I was like, everything. I told you not to ask me out. Asked you out. You're like, I love you the second I saw you. Like, okay, very intense.
Dude,
but I'm
if
not
you're going to say
back.
it, just say it and commit to it.
And isn't the worst thing, like, every time we'd say goodbye, like, you know, when someone's like, I love you, and you're like, yeah, I love you too. And I would be like, he'd be like, I love you every bloody time you would say that. It was so annoying.
Because I did.
And then you're like, I love you. And I'd be like, yeah, I love you too. And then I'd be like, wait. No, take that back. I don't actually
so
love
rough.
you. That was like a L-U-V, not an L-O-V-E. Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
Not love.
Like, love you, like your like best friend kind of thing. Yeah. And then we got there eventually. But I was just
but
very
when did you
cautious.
say, do you remember when you actually finally said that you love me?
Yeah, I think it was on Valentine's Day. I like made you like a big card. I like
Oh, yeah.
made like put pictures of us on
Yes.
it, and I said I love you, and you were all like crying.
Okay. Dude, that's not true. We all know that's not true.
Bro, it definitely was true.
I did not cry. Okay, can you imagine if I cried? That'd be so stupid.
Oh, you did. You were a lot more emotional when you were young.
Was I? Oh, I was. Yeah, I was for
you
sure.
were. You
Yeah.
were. You were so much more emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like?
You still had like that axe murder face. So if you guys ever see John out in public, and he's like not smiling, he doesn't want to kill anybody, or he's not angry. He just looks like that.
Yeah.
It's true.
Any questions?
Sometimes when we drive, I'm like,
No,
"Are
okay.
you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm good." I'm like, oh, I'm just checking, just making sure. Because your resting face is a little.
I have a
scary.
resting
Axe murder.
axe murder face. Yeah.
Yeah, John
So
looks
your
terrifying. Oh, sorry. Actually, let's circle back around.
your book was Redeeming Love.
Oh, that's what I was coming. What is your book?
I don't think I have a book.
You do have a book. You've told me about the book.
What?
Some wilderness book or something.
Little House on the Prairie?
You did love them.
I did love those books. But that makes me not a man, and it
which
makes
is
me
hilarious to me that you love those books. I love that you love them.
I'm positively confident in my manhood, and I can say that Little House on the Prairie is a great series.
Okay, but there is another book. There was like a wilderness book, or like there was some book on your shelf that you were like, "This is the best book ever." I remember you like being like, "You have to read this book."
The End of the Spear.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've
dude.
still.
Clutch. I forgot about
To
that.
this day, I have never read that book.
You haven't?
No, I haven't. Have you read Redeeming Love?
No.
Yeah, so don't judge.
Because I'm a man.
Dude, you like Little House on the Prairie. You would love Redeeming Love.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You looking it up?
Huh?
Just to see the title? You know the name of the book. Why are you looking it up?
No, I'm just, yeah.
Reminiscing?
Yeah, reminiscing. Yeah. It's a story.
What's the book about?
The story of, I think it's Jim Elliot and Nate Saint, the guys who took, like, the Bible to this undiscovered tribe in the Amazon, I believe.
Okay.
And they both get killed. And then their families end up, like, ministering, and all these people, like, give their lives to Jesus, and they're still there to this day, like some of the family, and yeah, just a psycho story. Like they flew in, and then they like ate them.
Oh,
Like yeah, it was crazy. Yeah,
That's-
first missionaries basically to this. But okay, so that's book, and I forgot about that book, so probably doesn't classify. I don't know, movies. Like I don't really know if there's like a movie that really like changed my life. And End of the Spear? That's a good question. I feel like they did. They should have, because it's just an amazing story. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, in 2005. Actually, yeah, that's right. Now that I see I did see this. It's a great, yeah.
You know what? I never read a book. I never read that book. But you know how like in Canada, everybody has like books in their bathrooms where you're like sitting on the toilet. You can like read a book if you want to.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids. My parents always had this book in there called Jesus Freaks, and it was like,
Really?
dude, it was the most intense book. It was all about these like people that had been martyred for Jesus, all through history. People that had
Like
been
short stories?
short stories
Like
about
one poop worth of
yeah,
story? Yeah.
like it was like a
2 pages or
toilet
something?
session of like people that had died in the name of Jesus, and it was just like people getting eaten by lions or going into like villages and being like,
And just,
yeah.
oh my God.
We also had a bag of beans in there that was like, it was called Mexican Bubble Bath, and it said on the package, it said, the more beans, the more you eat, the more you
toot,
the better the bath. And it was like this picture of this Mexican with a big sombrero and a bubble bath.
Dude, that can't be done these days.
But it was the funniest thing because it was just like, eat these beans and have your bubble bath. So gross, but very funny. So that's a bathroom decor, classic.
I'm trying to think what was in my bathroom.
Well, I know what was down your hallway. One time you got really mad at your parents and you punched a wall. You went down, you were like, we were dating at that time. You went down the stairs. You had the steepest stairs in the whole world, like death incline and like metal, like little
the edges?
edges, so you could just slide and like knock yourself out. So go down that, and then you got so mad at your parents. You punched a wall and you made a hole in it, and you put
It was. Then we had this like wooden carving thing. It's like
of
it's like
Jesus.
yeah. And it had the Lord's Prayer on it. I think the Lord's Prayer. And so I just like took it out of the living room and then I like put it like quietly like
A nail.
nailed like when my parents like I don't know how I did it, but I put a nail above it, then like hung this like Jesus picture above like over the hole in the wall.
Because where he punched was like a decent sized hole, so he covered it with the Jesus picture, and then they discovered it when you guys
Dude,
moved
when they
out.
moved, they didn't know. So like that was when like that was like so there's like
funny.
4 years, 6 years later, they moved out and they were taking down all the stuff off the wall and they took off the picture and they're like, see this
Big
huge
hole.
hole where I punched. They didn't find out. Crazy.
You were like out of the house for years, but
Years, and they couldn't even get angry at me at that point. So
You're
dad's like, did you punch a hole in the wall? Like right at the bottom of the stairs? I'm like, yeah, like a long time ago. He's like, we just moved the picture. And like we saw there's a big hole in the wall. I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, forgot to tell you
you're
about
like,
that.
yeah, that time I was super angry with you.
Yeah. It was unexpected.
It was really funny though.
I would say for me, a movie, like I didn't watch a lot of movies that really like,
Ooh,
I wasn't really a big movie watcher. If one stands out to me, it'd probably be George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle.
That really,
That is the worst movie of all time.
dude, get out of here.
That
How
is a
dare you?
Terrible movie.
Huh?
That is
Brendan,
something.
guy to the journey to the center of the earth. Brendan something. Yeah.
He was in all our childhood movies, but terrible actor.
Dude, but he changed the way I descended a staircase forever.
Why?
Dude, like there's that one scene where he's coming down, he's like, and he just like floats down like he just like.
I don't think in your lifetime you've ever floated down a stair.
No, but he made me want to go fast downstairs all the time, and I felt so cool. Brendan Fraser, that's it. Yes,
John
thank
just
you.
running down a flight of stairs.
I always start like first is
Awesome.
that you like try to like just go down as fast. So that's probably the movie that impacted my life the most
Oh my gosh.
was George of the Jungle.
Oh, hi, Leaky. Leaky's sitting beside me. What would you like? Okay, but no, say it loud.
All right.
Can you play an anti-Vaz phone? No, you may not. Okay, thank you.
Do you want to come podcast with us?
Yeah, do you want to come podcast for a little bit?
Okay.
You two, dear.
Bad
You
excuse.
need to shower.
I will.
Go.
Oh, if you could relive any moment in your life,
Ooh, what would it
what
be?
would it be?
Oh man, I don't know. I had a really good life.
Wow.
I did.
Wow.
I have a lot of great memories in my life. You know what? If I had to pick, like, can I pick like a season of my life?
Yeah, if I'm part of it.
No, you're not.
Oh, so you want to relive it so I can be added into it?
What do you mean?
Like it. Your thing is like, if you could relive.
No. The best time of my life was when I was like a kid at camp. Because there was no decisions to be made. There was no serious outcomes. And I love that.
I hated camp.
I hate that you hated camp.
Yeah.
That was like the best time of my life.
Camp is terrible.
Camp is the best. I like learned to love Jesus.
Don't send your
there.
kids to Bible camp. They'll
Don't
get
listen
punched.
to him. No, okay. So John went to this like really ghetto camp where they allowed a child that had FAS, which is fetal alcohol syndrome, to be his camp counselor, which means there's nothing wrong with fetal alcohol syndrome children, but not to be leaders of other children, because typically their brains don't allow them to have like an anchor control center.
Oh yeah.
And so John got like punched and drowned while he was a camper at his camp.
I was resilient though.
And your parents knew that was who your counselor was, so that was also interesting. But don't go to that camp.
Can always be worse, right?
So I grew up going to Sunny Bray Bible Camp in Kelowna.
Okay,
Or
plug.
no, outside of Sam Narm in British Columbia. Plug. Send your kids there.
Yeah, okay,
That
everybody.
camp is the bomb.
If you're from Nandi, we'll talk Suva. Send your kids to Sunny Bay
Hey,
Bible
you know,
Camp.
if you're in Canada ever for summer, send your kids there.
Change their life probably. Yeah.
It is amazing. Like, I've never had such good experiences. And I'm...
Except for like after you met me and we started doing life together.
Well, obviously that was great, honey. But it also was like adult. It was mature life choices. We had to get jobs. There's a lot of like stress,
Pressure?
pressure. And like I'm just talking about like when I was young and like there's no stress, there's no choices, there's no like you're just living to enjoy.
Hmm.
That was a good time. I love that time in my life. And like I if I could do it again but with not my brain right now, like you would have to go back to be like adolescent me. To redo it as like an adult.
Yeah, for sure. No, it wouldn't be the same.
It's not the same.
Like,
Actually,
you can go back for family camps and stuff, but yeah, it's gotta be different.
well, like I went back as an adult, which was fantastic when we were in our early part of our marriage, to help out as being like a leader there for some of their senior teens. You go for 1 week for their people that are a little bit older. They want like mature counselors that are adults from different cities. So I went back for I think 2 summers.
Yeah.
Oh, and I had a lot of fun still. I got to act like I was like 16 again, running around, just getting
Pranking
dirty,
each other.
pranking people, just like being goofy because you're hanging out with like 15-year-olds all day.
You have a cockroach on your ankle.
Ugh. Well, it's a little one. I don't even count those as cockroaches anymore.
No?
Those are kind of just like flies.
We're moving up, and this is good. You've
Yeah.
changed for the better.
No, I don't know if it's for the better. I've just lowered my standards of life to just be like, crawl on me. No, they still are not allowed to crawl on me. That's not true. Yeah, but yeah. What about you? What would you go back to?
Oh, what would I go and redo?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the seasons of my life.
Don't try to make me look bad also. Like, don't be like, when I met you. Don't, like, say that. Don't make me look like the worst wife ever, please. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I just wish I could love you better and love you.
Just goes right for that. Ooh,
Love you harder and
Love you. I don't think you could, though.
just harder, love you better, faster, stronger. Yeah, say I love you on the first day.
You made eye contact with me. You're like, I love you. Like, you're psychotic.
Man, you know what? I think
Run!
Huh?
Run!
Fijian style. Yeah. First date. Just, I love you. I love you, and I'll love you forever if you love me. I'd probably, if I could go back and relive a moment or a time, I think I would ask my grandfathers more questions. I think. I really loved my grandfather in Canada. I actually got to spend a lot of time with him, like growing up, and obviously I love my grandfather here, but there was just a big language barrier. I think we could have had more conversations now because my Fijian has gotten better, and I would have been even better because I actually now have a passion to, like, I would have tried to speak it with him more because I want to know more about him.
Yeah. Well, and he was always very proud of you.
Yeah, and I think, like, my grandpa in Canada, he was a really just special guy, and I feel like a lot of things, like, this is what's cool about what we're doing here is, like, we get to talk to people, and, like, this will live on forever. Like, you know, people say, like, careful, like, what you do on the internet, like, lives forever. And, like, it's true to some extent, right? Because just because we delete it, like, there can be copies made and stuff like that. And so, like, this is special, and if something happened to me or you, like, the kids would at least have this. But, like,
Yeah.
man, my grandpa, he was so smart, and his path, like his life went from, like, horse carriages, you know, to
Yeah,
like, airplanes.
for sure.
Like, he would ride, like, they would ride because there wasn't cars, you know? And so, like, that, like, and now my grandma, like, she's the same age as him. So, like, you know, there's lots of people in that era. And, like, this is the one thing, like, I feel like might spark, if you guys haven't had, like, conversations with your grandparents, or you just, like, don't really care to ask them questions, it's like, think about what life looked for them when they were born. Or, like, look up pictures from, like, the year or the era that they were born. And then think about what life is like right now. So, like, my grandma in Canada, she's
93?
93 or 94.
I think 93.
Yeah, and so, like, horse-drawn carriage, riding horses, and there's no vehicles, to Teslas,
And your grandma's awesome.
right? Like, there's Teslas now. There's electric vehicles.
Yeah, but your grandma's also cool because she, like, went from, like like horse-drawn carriages, and now she uses her iPad and her cell phone.
Oh, how
And
crazy is
she
that?
like is good. Like she messages us on Facebook,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
You guys might even see my grandma comment. If you guys see Grace Vandercoot,
yeah, that's his
comment on
grandma.
that's my grandma. You like she comments on our posts sometimes.
It's awesome.
Imagine that like she grew up in a time where like you'd have to ride a horse and in the winter they had a wagon that they had skis on and they
Yeah.
would take that to town like once every 3 weeks. And when they wanted to keep things cold, before the ice came off of the river, they would go down and saw blocks of ice like way down, like the river was miles away.
Yeah.
Saw blocks of ice in the river, they bring it home and then they store it under hay and like sawdust, and that would be the fridge. So they would have a big room that they would stack blocks of ice in, and that ice would last for months. It would be in like a cool room, and they'd stack the ice up on the floor, up on the walls, and they'd insulate it with hay. And then that would be the only refrigeration that they had. And so like when you wanted to go to the fridge, they walk outside to like this separate building that was like the cool room, and they get the milk and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And like now like
And everybody
freaking,
baths
like,
in one bath.
everybody
Her
bath.
dad goes baths first.
Yeah.
Which, like, honestly, no offense, but like
No,
that's
dad bath last.
Oh, he
Yeah,
dad
grandpa
last?
last. Yeah.
Oh, I
Grandpa
thought it was
last.
him
No, no.
first. I was gonna say that's a mistake because he's probably dirtier.
I don't know. And I
Since,
saw.
like if you were a farmer.
I think if I could go back and like do something, I probably would just have asked him more questions,
Yeah.
because it would just be nice to. It would have just been nice to know him more, I guess.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
my great grandparents, so they must be about 30, maybe 40, probably 35-ish years older than your grandma. So they lived till their late 90s, and my granddad lived to 102. So that's not my grandparents and my great grandparents. So I always knew them growing up. And like the really cool thing is like they wrote memoirs of their life, or like
Oh, really?
they wrote down like books of like their memories when they were young and kind of what they did and how they met, and like yeah, they have like a lot of memories that they recorded. It's really cool to go back
I
through
feel like
and
somebody
read.
like we should figure out a process and a way to like help people write a book about their grandparents,
Well,
like
there
in
is.
Fiji, that they're still alive.
Well, there's stuff online that can help you work through like questions that you can ask like the older generation to record.
You know what? I want to do this now. We should take one of those books and see if we can try get it translated into Fijian, so that like people, because actually my mom and dad are working on that one of those right now, right?
Yeah, they are.
And so it's like my sister gave them a book, and it's like all these questions and like fill in the blanks, or stuff like that. And so the questions there, and then they just have to write it down.
Yeah.
But I don't think people care about doing this until the people are gone, and then it's too late. But if there's like a book that like you could just give to your grandparents or your parents for them, like, and it can be done when they're young too.
Yeah.
Like my parents are filling out this book, and it's basically gonna answer like all the questions, and like from like when they were born, standout memories, like what impacted their lives growing up and stuff like that.
Oh,
And so,
dude,
what?
that is a big beetle.
Oh my gosh, get out of here, dude.
That is a big one.
Oh, you know what? That really just took it out of me.
That's funny.
Whew.
Yeah, I think like
I'd love to do that actually.
I think that would be interesting to be able to execute here.
Maybe, yeah.
I think like a lot of people don't like know the exact history of their grandparents or enough questions, because like the interesting thing
We
is
should see if we can work on something like that with your dad. Like have a book like that, and then get him to translate it. Like obviously like as a job, but like, and then we could like put it online so people could buy it.
yeah, like
And, like, and then like, because like the thing about like the Fijian culture is like it's gonna be like slowly withering away too, right? But to like capture the stories from like our parents and our grandparents. He wrote a book.
From my great grandfather.
Yeah,
your
see?
great-grandpa.
But like lots of us don't. That's crazy.
He has in what we call Katuniwano.
Katunibono.
So he has my great grandfather's journal, and passed down to my
Yeah.
grandfather
your grandfather.
and my dad.
Wow.
Okay.
Dad continued.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Oh, that's cool. I think it's interesting in Fiji.
love that.
Everybody
That's really cool.
knows their relations, or at least the older generation does. Like your grandma, when you ask her, "Who's this person? How are they related?" and they're like, "Oh, they're like my second cousin's grandchild from like a second marriage.
My grandmother's brother's son.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like,
Huh?
how do you even know that? Where in Canada we don't value that.
hmm.
Like you were asking me, I think a couple months ago, like, oh, did you ever meet your grandfather's parents or like his relatives? And he didn't have a good relationship with them. And I think I've met like maybe his brother, and I know nothing about his parents. I actually know nothing about my grandma's parents. I only know about my mom's side, my great grandparents, because they were alive.
Yeah.
You know, and I actually knew them. Like when we went to visit my mom's parents, we'd go see her grandparents, and they were alive until I was in my like early 20s.
Yeah.
So, you know, I knew them pretty well. Like it wasn't just like, oh, I met them when I was small. Like I spent time with them, right? But I don't know much. Like I know a little of their history. They shared stories with us, and but I don't know anything about their parents.
Yeah.
I know about their life, but I don't know about their family. And I think you lose
We
that.
should try to do something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I think that like that not as a money making thing, but just like cover the cost of like what it costs to make it.
Yeah, get it translated.
Just so that like it will help like families preserve their history.
Well,
Yeah,
and even you're
I'd like to
starting
work on
like a
something.
family tree
Yeah.
and working through it.
Yeah.
But I think that will be really good to visually see, because after your grandma's gone, or some of the older generation, people won't actually know this.
Yeah.
Because they haven't taken the time to sit down to actually learn it.
Well, I remember like asking like when me and you and Grandma went on that really long drive that time.
Your grandma in Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're like, what did you like to do with your friends? Like when you guys were in school, like what did you guys do for fun? You know, like, and questions like that, like because like we all know like where our grandparents grew up or like what, you know, the people that they know, but it's like, what games did you guys play for fun? Like,
Yeah.
because now we have iPads or, you know, we have volleyball and soccer, but it's like, what did you guys play? Like when you guys had time to spare?
Yeah, and I remember
did
your
you do
grandma
for fun?
talking about like in her school having to like grab firewood to stoke the fire to like so they didn't freeze while they were doing school, and how she had to like
Like all the kids would like ride to school and there'd be a post like in front of the school where like people come and like tie up their horses
yeah.
like during school. And then everybody would have come on their horse. Like, whoa. That's
Yeah.
Canada.
That's Canada. Yeah. Well, and it's different there too, because like history here looks so different than there. Like your grandma grew up in a land of frozen, where they had horses drawing like a sleigh that had skis on it to get over the snow. Where here, like people ride horses, but it's not carriage and buggy, because also like the land expanse is not so big. Fiji's so small,
Yeah.
right? Like it's such a different lifestyle, such a different upbringing. And like
Yeah.
you have a few months where you're like farming, and then the rest of the year you're either freezing and starving. You're just surviving. It's
Oh, for sure.
yeah, it's so different. I actually would hate to have lived that. Like, can you imagine living that compared to just being over here?
Oh yeah, like if you had to grow up in a country, choose a country.
Yeah, like to grow up back in the day with no like
Ooh yeah.
electricity
I don't
and
know,
like
dude.
horse and carriage
And
with
freezing.
the snow.
Yeah.
I
Hey
don't.
dude, what was that?
John's, I'm glad it's you getting attacked, not me.
There's something on my back. I'm tripping out. Yeah. We rent out this podcast space for $100 an hour. If you guys want to do a podcast.
You want to do a podcast?
Is there any questions on live or anything?
No, just like people agreeing with the book. Like, this is from Audley. That's right. It would be nice to write books because everything seems to be fading away.
Yeah.
Because life is now different than those days.
Definitely.
Yeah, same with Haley. Great idea. Yeah, there's so much to uncover in families and culture that we do not know about.
Thanks, Haley. Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think like asking each other hard questions, or families about like their history or how they grew up. Like I know a lot about how my mom grew up. I know a lot about how my dad grew up, but I don't know a lot about how my grandparents grew up. Like I know quite a bit more about my grandma on my dad's side, just because she would spend more time
But
with
I
us.
think
and-
like even based on what like we were talking about last week in the podcast,
Yeah.
like those kind of like awkward, hard to ask questions. But like, what if you asked like your grandma that you didn't know very well, like if there's something in your life that you wish you could relive, like what would you do different? not to regret, but like, if there was a moment that you could like out of happiness, even not to change something, but like,
Yeah.
what was like the happiest time in your life? What book or movie like impacted your life?
Yeah.
Like asking our grandparents that would be special.
Yeah, it would be special, and it'd be something interesting to be able to tell your children.
Yeah.
Which, like, you do lose a piece of you if you don't know where you come from, right? You don't know your history or, like, even your culture
Yeah.
or, like, what was important to your family, back then, or what your family stood for. Like, I feel like my dad's side all talks about, like, how sports was such a big thing in their family. Like, sports was everything. My grandfather was an engineer and my grandma was a nurse, and they spent most of their paycheck paying for their children to be in high-end sports.
Yeah.
And that is a weird little detail, but it's interesting that was such a high priority to them.
Yeah.
And then it shows when the way that we were raised. Like, my parents made us like run a lot and play every sport, and my cousins on like holidays, my aunt was making them like run up mountains for training. And like everybody was a little bit psychotic within like, okay, we're on holiday, but we'll be like water skiing and running and playing a sport, and now let's all go out and play baseball for the afternoon. And I was kind of like thought that was normal in families.
No, just your family.
It's not.
No.
Yeah, but you got to see like, oh, your parents raised you like that. Your parents were like psychotic sports fanatics, and so you took that and went, my children also have to know every sport ever.
Yeah.
And I have this thing in my soul where my kids are in Fiji and there's no baseball here, and I'm like, we kind of need to know how to play baseball. Like, this is a life skill requirement. I even got your parents to ship us baseball gloves.
We need to play more baseball with them.
Well, I just feel like in my life that was a requirement. And then it came in handy because we play baseball, and if I sucked or didn't know how to catch a ball, that would be really awkward. And then when you got married to me, I was like, well, let's go play baseball. And if you couldn't catch or throw, that would be kind of uncomfortable.
Luckily,
right? Luckily, you're
I dominated most of the things that I participate in.
John is weirdly coordinated. Actually, the first gift I ever got you was a longboard. Do you remember that?
Yes, that's true.
So not a skateboard, but like a long surfing version of a
Skateboard. Yeah.
And you were good at it right away. Like more, like just like quickly than anybody I've ever met. And then, so it was great. So when my family took you skiing or snowboarding, you got a snowboard and you'd only been once before.
Awkward.
And you could keep up with everybody. And I was like, this is great. And the annoying part was you were so much better than I was within a few years, and I kind of hated you for it.
It's all right, baby. I still love you.
And you're vicious, though. Like, okay, you don't even know. Sometimes we go to, like, mountains. Longest vertical in North America. Took us...
Revelstoke.
It could take you, like, probably at least 45 minutes to ride the hill down.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes would cry halfway through because my calves, and I was in good shape back then, my calves would be burning in absolute agony because you're, like, on your back heel the whole time. And John would be like, can you get it together and keep going? And I'd be dying. So before the season of snowboarding would come, I'd go to the gym and I'd skip. And I don't like skipping, but I would just skip because I knew John.
Like you'd skip the gym?
No, like
That's
skip
kidding.
rope. So I'd be like calf in shape. Like my calves had to be in excessively good shape. So
And guys are like, how'd you get such big calves?
well, that was natural. They never fluctuate. I just have giant calves. So muscular.
I like big calves, and I cannot lie. And on that note, we're going to end the live and podcast.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this is also sponsored by Waka Media. If you guys need any help making reels for your businesses, or you are an NGO or a big organization that needs more donors, we also do documentary style videos for you. So you can check us out on our website at wakafarms.com/media.
Yep.
And that's all we got, I think,
Yeah. And we'll be having our first official sponsor coming on board on the Monday
for our lives.
for our lives. Yeah. So thank you guys very much. We appreciate you, and have a great weekend. And we
Thanks
will
for joining.
talk to you guys soon. Much love.
Bye.
Peace.